All, I take this opportunity to extend my thanks to Skillopedia, a great and fast growing social networking platform that is dedicated to connect parents, teachers, children towards the formation of a strong future. What motivates me here this afternoon is to share with you all, by way of collective thinking, how we can motivate and inspire our youth and children of all ages. We are an important part of history as we stepped into the 21st century, the new millennium, and we have witnessed many important events. We have witnessed Dubai grow in front of our eyes, and lately we have been a part of COVID-19, which has been imprinted on the annals of history. We have withstood the challenging ordeal with a steadfast determination, resilience, and forbearance. Everyone, schools, parents, teachers, the entire world population have undergone a period of new learning, and this has opened areas of experience which we may have never imagined or thought of before. Needless to say, although it has been a very painful period to see the irreplaceable and irreparable losses all around us, however, such periods in history leave a very important message for mankind. What has the existing pandemic taught us? Along with many aspects, it has certainly taught us to think long term and to be prepared for any eventuality, to harness all our positive energies around us, and to lead each day of our life with patience and determination. Our children have sailed through this time of adversity with brilliance. It has taught all of us to be strongly motivated to fight against all odds. Can life move on without motivation? Certainly not. If a young mother is not motivated enough to take care of her newborn infant at every cost, going to the extreme of self-sacrifice, we would not be where we are. What motivates me to share this platform today is the growing concern among parents as well as educators about how to inspire the children and students at all ages in a sustainable manner. The schools and parents as well as students have done a tremendous job at completing the academic session successfully, going through all the challenges of learning long distance in the virtual world. It is heartwarming to see how the aspiring parents want to do their ultimate best for their children. In addition to meeting the heavy demands of their everyday job expectations, the threat of losing jobs, the harsh conditions of the pandemic, they are trying their level best to arrange for activities for their children, no matter at what cost, so that they reap the best benefit out of every opportunity available to them. Nevertheless, sometimes it makes them feel doubtful whether every effort that is being made is achieving the optimum outcome. There are times when parents and teachers may feel that perhaps there is something lacking somewhere. One challenge that stands before us as strongly as ever is how can we motivate and inspire children during the best of times? How can parents and tutors give a positive and interactive response from students? How can we guide our youngsters to do full justice to their potential and discover their talent and channelize their passion? One of the golden rules that comes to my mind is practice before you preach. It may sound very dogmatic and cliche to say practice before you preach. However, the golden rules of life, I feel, will always remain untarnished, outshining everything else. So I want to share my firm belief that when we showcase something that we expect our youngsters to do and we practice it ourselves, I'm certain they will imbibe it as a habit or attitude on their own. It is said, kids don't remember what you try to teach them, they remember what you are. So the onus of responsibility falls on us. For instance, let's take the habit of reading. How many of us on a daily basis actually sit down with a book in our hand? How many of us give our children the opportunity to carry out reading sessions in the daily course of our lives? That is something very important and a very significant conventional way of encouraging children to read and to develop a love for reading. Although most parents, despite their busy job obligations, spend the cozy bedtime story time with their children, however, life has become so demanding and fast-paced that we are forever lost in this never-ending race, not finding enough time for the conventional ways of family togetherness. Nonetheless, perhaps the compulsions of the lockdown provided every family with quality time within their homes. That may be considered to be one of the positive outcomes of this stressful period. An essential ingredient for successful motivation is a happy and loving home atmosphere, which forms the bedrock of lifelong motivation. Excuse me. So the culture of reading must be kept alive. The children must see us sitting in a cozy corner with a book in our hands and reading. We all know that early childhood, being the most formative stage, is the time to lay a strong foundation for our children, and all parents try to do their best by introducing them to all types of activities, be it art, music or sport. As the years go by, perhaps there begins to seep in a feeling that what was instilled in childhood is getting lost as the outer world begins to take its hold on the children. The interest in the bedtime stories seems to be getting diluted, filling the parents with a sense of doubt whether there was something that was missed, something that could not be done. They are confronted with feelings of guilt and worse, despair. Hey parents, you don't have any reason to despair because you are really doing your very best. Cheer up and keep up your faith strong that you have done your best. There are multiple factors acting on our lives. Life, which is evolving at such a fast pace, progressing, transforming, yet regressing in many ways, takes its toll on all of us. The changing life trends, the growing impact of social media penetrates into our lives unseen. If anything, modern life has become the biggest paradox, and I hope you will agree with me on this. We are all here connected on a social platform. Nonetheless, we, the adults, are as much the victims of social media commitments and platforms as our new generation. With due apologies, as it is this social platform which is offering us this opportunity to be connected and to be thinking collectively about something very important that concerns our children. However, there is the negative side to it that we are all aware of. Some cartoonists have created very impactful caricatures where a family is shown to be spending the so-called family time together, each one of them busy on their mobile phones, yet sitting together cozily in the most Wi-Fi effective corner of their house. I'm sure many of you would have seen that cartoon. What do we need to do? We need to break ourselves from all outside shackles and just be there for our children. The big question that confronts us is, does progress and provision give the best lead to motivation? Just buying a lot of books for the children and telling them to read may not be enough. We need to reinforce everything through an example. Even if such a practice can be carried out once in a while, maybe just once in a week, it should be a very good source of encouragement for them, arousing within them the love of reading, the love of books. Our present day generation is so intelligent and so exposed to the outside world and environment the social and peer impact, that it is important to bring them to a point so that they become good observers. We cannot lead them by a leash. We cannot force them. We need to convince them by reaching out to their sense of logic, conviction, and reasoning. And once these intelligent minds are convinced, there may be no stopping them from achieving the best outcome. They know as well as we do that reading is important, writing is important, reading the newspaper is important, and our geniuses gauge from our body language, from our eyes, the way we breathe. They know when dads want to say what, when mom wants to say something to them. They are much smarter than us. So we need to bring ourselves to their level of smartness and perhaps use strategies on a regular basis that may inspire them. Responsibility for us adults, parents, educators, and counselors seems to be becoming all the more demanding and challenging. Over these 2 years, a lot has undergone a change in our education system, with virtual learning replacing real learning, or more correctly, physical learning, which has modified the way of thinking for everyone. It has led us to rethinking of many concepts and ideas. No matter the real physical education when children attend school regularly under normal conditions is definitely a complete learning experience for them through direct social interaction and participation in group activities. Yet at the same time, the virtual world has a lot to offer. It has diverse and immense platforms for children to learn. It is for us to motivate our children and our young students how to make use of the virtual world in a positive and effective manner. And can we minimize the visual learning in the present times? Not the least. Most importantly, the power that the virtual world holds on our generation through video games is perhaps the greatest challenge for us. That brings me to the most important point and topic for collective thinking this afternoon. It is a universal fact that a high percentage of our new generation spends a lot of time on video games, not only in their free time, but also during the study hours during the academic year. Our smart minds know that it is not good. They know that it has many negative impacts. However, the temptation of the virtual world and peer pressure gets the better of them. So how do we motivate them and wean them out of the negative impact of the virtual world that may be having more of a negative impact on them than positive? One strategy that I have found to work very well with the youngsters is when we ask them, would you like to be a creator or a third-party recipient getting the entertainment out of a business which is earning the creators of these video games unlimited wealth? Would they rather not want to be a creator of something? For instance, how about creating their own blog or website where they can showcase their talents, share their ideas and views with their peers, and be able to attain something which will add to their credit on their credentials for university applications? And many of the students have been inspired by these ideas. I would like to share a very appealing example of a youngster who has been a genius at creating Lego designs and has been doing this since the age of 7. In a span of 7 to 8 years, he has created very impressive models of the Lego. The idea of becoming a blogger impressed him and led him to work on his blog, in which he shares the creativity of making impressive Lego designs, which I'm sure will have a huge impact on his peers by way of encouraging them to create something that they are interested in. It could be anything to do with art, any kind of art, or anything else that holds the youngsters' interests. The idea of becoming the creator has also led many youngsters to create their own YouTube channel in which they showcase their talents for music, at creating new music, and much more. So positive encouragement and a consistent reinforcement can bear rewarding fruits and through the use of the virtual world. In order to motivate and inspire our youth, we have to go hand in hand with them. We have to become a part of the virtual world which attracts them unflinchingly, to the extent that they forget to eat sometimes. Family events don't hold any importance for them. All they want is the participation and achievement of success in those video games. All this again brings us to follow a very logical approach, because we need to reach out. We need to touch these intelligent minds, which can be done not by the rod or any kind of compulsion, such as the confiscation of mobile phones and the PS5. These techniques will not work with our generation. We need to appeal to their logic. We need to convince them. We need to appeal to their intelligence, and we need to impress them. So how can we do that? This brings me back to the habit of reading, something which is considered very essential by all parents, and the common concern is how to encourage our youngsters to read. Now it is the summer vacation time, and the students and youngsters are being kept absorbed in many summer camps, which are a great source of interactive participation for students, and they're enjoying them to the fullest. I'm conducting many of these summer camp sessions, and I make it a point to ask students to talk about books, and it has been very satisfactory to see the response when I suggested a couple of websites to them. For instance, Bookswooks, which is an excellent platform for thousands of books for children of all ages, as well as for us adults. There are books of all genres to be read online. There are books available on Kindle and PDFs online, of course. However, Bookswooks is one single platform that provides a great source of reading, learning and entertainment, and it has been very encouraging to see over the last 2 weeks how many of the students have actually been on this site. They've started exploring what book interests them, be it the adventure stories, fantasy, horror books, but they are at it, and they're already on with their search, and they've started reading. We have to adopt the VAC learning as a means of influencing them for something such as reading books. There are so many animated videos and films based on all the classics, be it the plays of William Shakespeare, the poems by the Romantic poets, novels of the Victorian period, all the novels written by Charles Dickens. It is definitely a good thought to have the children get the real feel of a hard copy of a book in their hand and read rather than online. Yet, it may be more appealing to them and more convincing to read books online, even if they skip a few pages. Yet, their acquaintance with the great writers, their introduction to those times, and the different styles and forms of writing can be a great achievement for all of us. And it may be in fact wrong to expect our generation to, us adults, to expect our generation to pick up a book which is 400 to 500 pages long to sit in a corner and start reading, because times have changed. We must not compare this generation with ours or our childhood. The greatest mistake that we make is when we compare. The mindset of bringing out comparisons should be replaced with taking time out to appreciate what our children have learned during the day and understanding patiently what might have been the letdowns for them on a daily basis. I have shared this thought with many of the parents and asked them that when you're back from work, have you taken time out to actually check out what written work the children have done? What did they do in the summer camp sessions? Perhaps not a fault of theirs, but the answer is mostly no, because the parents are tied up with so many commitments. So that, I think, is one important thing, the touch base. We need to look up what have our children been doing throughout the day and give them an appreciation for that. Reviewing the virtual world our modern generation is surrounded with, the videos and audios are an excellent means of directing children and motivating and inspiring them to inculcate the habit of reading. The same goes for all other hobbies and pastimes. Parents are doing their level best by engaging the children in different hobbies, sending them to different summer camps. But is it enough to sign up for them to learn the Rubik's Cube through its numerous intricacies? Or do we need to show personal involvement by spending a few minutes of quality time sharing with them? That, I think, is a very important role that we parents and adults can play in motivating our children. A constant, loving reinforcement involving the parents personally with the child's activities can encourage them to feel interested, such as a small thing, encouraging them to draw illustrations which they see in their storybooks. I think our generation used to do that when we were children because there was no virtual world for us. And how many of our children do that? That is a very good means of leading them to develop an interest in art and lead them to spend a lot of time of their day in drawing, looking at the illustrations in those beautiful books or even online, so that they never have time to get bored or to feel frustrated. With the graphic designs and instant coloring available on the computer, the art of drawing through observation is taking a back seat. And we have to do our best not to let this happen. Rather than going to expensive bookstores and stationeries to buy expensive Hallmark cards, I'm not promoting not to buy Hallmark cards, but what I mean to say is that our children need to be encouraged to make handcrafted cards and bookmarks using recyclable material, dried flowers, and so many other things, so that they incorporate whatever they're learning about environmental conservation through everyday practice. Another area which is of a constant bone of contention may be writing. Parents want their children to write. They want to improve their writing skills, and not without a good reason, while our children run away from it. So how do we catch them? How do we motivate and inspire them? We can't hold a rod on their head and tell them to sit and write. We have to lead them to feel inspired. So a very common and a very simple way is to ask them to write about their own experience of the day's happenings. Were they getting bored? What were they feeling? What did they enjoy the most? And a fantastic way to encourage children to develop the love for writing is to advise them to have a journal on a daily basis in which they can draw and write, bringing out their creativity. And the foundation for all this needs to be laid down when they are small. And the habit learned at that stage needs to be sustained. If they've been playing video games, it may be a good idea asking them to write a review of that game. That is something which I do with my students, and it's a very good starting point. When we find it becoming impossible to snap the thread between the video game, the controller, and their hands, we cannot just impose a ban. Conversely, when encouraged to express their thoughts on their favorite video games, the students have come up with such good pieces of work and reviews on their favorite video games. And this tactic has been very successful. They have displayed the ability to comment on all the important elements, starting with the technical aspects, the cinematographic techniques, the three-dimensional impact, the use of music, plot, characterization, dialogue, name it. And they could identify and write down effusively on their favorite games. And there they displayed their writing skills. It is from that initial step that we have to take them further to show them the importance of the word, the importance of improving their vocabulary, and how they can add to their vocabulary. What I mean is that we have to bring ourselves to their level, perhaps join in the game with them sometimes. We have to see, think, and feel from their perspective, and then try to get what we want. Being an educator and an English tutor, I cannot leave out the importance of vocabulary building. Goethe, the great German poet, playwright, novelist, scientist, statesman, said, "The limits of my language are the limits of my universe." And that is one important thing that we need to share with our children. We need to lead them to these great thinkers and great writers, encourage them to read their biographies, autobiographies, and to explore the unlimited avenues of watching videos and audios based on these great personalities. So there is no end to in the way which we can motivate and inspire our youngsters. And this brings me back to the virtual world once again. As at the tap of the button on the keyboard, the children can find hundreds of words for one word. And that's what I always encourage my students to do while they are in their lessons on Google Docs. And each one of them has come with such a positive response when they click and they find so many words which they can enter as a comment on their learning file. There is no end of platforms and tools available to them. I have witnessed the magical progression from vocabulary into the magic of words when they begin to understand how the root word is transformed into its different forms. How can varied sentence openers add great effectiveness to their writing? And the intermingling of the co-curricular areas can provide endless vistas of motivational learning to our children. We can combine the logical approach which is used in math, the technical approach which is used in computer science, and all these faculties can come together and contribute to a holistic approach towards every subject. History and geography, which might have been very tedious subjects to learn at our times, as we did not have any videos or documentaries on all the important historic events. Nonetheless, for our children today, there are such interesting videos available on geography and history, on every subject in science, that our youngsters only need to be motivated to find the answers to everything they need. They can actually self-tutor themselves through the rightful use of the virtual world, which rather than becoming a stigma can be used very productively to the best advantage for our generation. It is very important for us to safeguard the bond of trust and communication with our children at all ages, be it the nursery, the primary, or the higher levels. The bond of trust and communication needs to be strengthened, especially when they're undergoing the troubled teenage years. We have to try our utmost not to lose their confidence and trust, so that they come back to us, not run away from us. I think that the most important message that I would like to share with everyone is that the journey is unlimited, the road is endless, and the challenges innumerable, and so the obstacles. Thus, we are called upon to extend the boundaries of our patience and faith in our new generation. We as parents need to hold on to our faith and positivity strongly, which is built on confidence and trust, so that we do not lose this opportunity to motivate and inspire our youngsters, who are the pillars of our future world. The foremost thing that we need is to be calm, patient, tolerant, ever loving, ever caring, and ever giving if we want the best for them. Last but not the least, it is imperative to encourage the youngsters to have a strong sense of self-esteem, confidence, and interest, so that they have the motivation to find out where lies their passion. We have to be facilitators and promoters, and not bodies which discourage them through comparison or overburden them with unreasonable expectations. We have to make them realize and discover their own dreams. We have to lead them to have the faith and the confidence how they can make their dreams a reality. We have to assist them to discover their dreams. We would be cheating ourselves if we think that we can enforce the career options upon our youngsters. We have to go with the flow. We have to go with them. So let's not lose the opportunity while we have it, And my message for the students is that you are your own bosses. You can master your skills once you take that decision. Thank you.